Morning. Afternoon, I guess, for you.
Yes, it is. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to our Question of the Week series. This is episode number 3, and we're going to talk about cravings. Yes, this is my good friend Gori Harrison, who's helping me out, and we're going to have a conversation about cravings. I'm Andrea Modrea of Our Healthy Path. Thanks for joining. All right, let's get going. So, cravings. Why do we have cravings?
Million different reasons, I guess.
There's a number of reasons. I'm going to just break it down into two. Number one, we have an emotional connection to food, as we've discussed before. So when we're having cravings, it could be because we're stressed or overwhelmed, anxious about something. So we reach for food for comfort or self-soothing. And if we're doing this once in a while, no problem. But if we're doing this on a regular basis, we have to think about what is the trigger? What is triggering us to reach for food instead of some other more healthy way of dealing with whatever the trigger is, right? So you might want to look at maybe some psychological help or meditation, hypnosis, other healthy options for dealing with the emotional stress that leads you to reach for cookies rather than, um, something else,
Absolutely.
right? And
Yeah.
same thing goes for exercise because some people automatically go, oh, I'm stressed, I'm going to exercise. And it could be, they could be over exercising. But anyways, that's just an aside. We'll leave that for another time. And there could be physiological aspects to our cravings, right? So if we're having cravings for sugar, for example, we could be needing, our bodies could be needing more protein,
Right.
right? Or high fiber foods, right? Uh, if we're craving salty foods, we could be deficient in salt or other minerals,
Right.
right? So one option there is to increase slightly the amount of salt in our food. And we can always add Celtic salt or Himalayan pink salt, which in my opinion, it's, the best, right? Very high in minerals other than just the saltiness. Um, and we can add like a pinch of Himalayan pink salt or baking soda to our water to help increase our electrolytes. And there's always packages of electrolytes that you can add to your water. I would just say if you're looking for those or if you like to use those, then make sure that they're not high in sugar or other chemicals.
Right. What would be a natural source of electrolytes?
Well, like I said, salt, uh, baking soda,
Okay.
lemon juice,
Okay.
right?
Coconut water?
Coconut water, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Um, Now, if you're craving fatty foods or greasy foods, your body could be looking to get more healthy fat, right? So you might want to increase the healthy fats that you're eating on a regular basis, such as fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, or avocados, avocado oil, coconut oil, olives, olive oil, eggs, all really great sources of healthy fats,
Good to know.
right? Now, you may have noticed that for each item, it's like if you're craving salt, you want to increase the salt in your food. If you're craving fats, you want to be eating healthy fats. But with sugar, we're not actually wanting to have more sugar in our body. If we're craving sugar or sweets or processed foods, we're actually needing to increase the protein that we're consuming, right? And I want to talk a little bit about how sugar affects our health and most particularly our gut bacteria,
Mm,
right? Because that's where it all starts,
of course. Yeah.
right? So I don't want to get into a whole discussion about blood sugar. If anybody's interested, they can watch our blood sugar masterclass, and I detail everything in there. But I do want to talk about how sugar affects our gut bacteria. So normally, if we're eating healthy and have a healthy lifestyle, our gut bacteria are beneficial. They're beneficial gut bacteria, and they support us,
Mm.
right? They help to make certain hormones and neurotransmitters that are used elsewhere in our bodies, right? They are like 80% of our immune system resides in our gut, and that's our healthy, beneficial gut bacteria. But when we're eating sugar, it becomes imbalanced. So those beneficial gut bacteria are polymorphic, which means that they change shape and function. So when we're feeding them processed foods, sugar, they morph, they change into bad gut bacteria. Or I don't want to say anything is good or bad. We'll call them opportunistic, right? And then they start to crave sugar, right? So it's the bad gut bacteria or the opportunistic gut bacteria that become toxic, right? There's an imbalance as they increase in number.
Right.
Are the number of bad gut bacteria increases, and there's an imbalance. They become toxic, and they're also, along with the sugar molecules, scraping away at our gut lining, right? Which then becomes leaky. So you have leaky gut or permeable gut syndrome, right? Then you've got the bad gut bacteria along with toxins from our food and microscopic bits of food particles leaching through the gut lining into our circulatory system and going elsewhere in the body and causing systemic inflammation and damage.
Right.
Okay, so that's just for background information to just let our audience know what sugar and processed foods do to our bodies,
Yeah.
right? So the thing about sugar, one reason why we crave it so much is that sugar is the number one most addictive substance that humans consume. It's crazy. It's 10 times more addictive than cocaine.
That's
So of
why.
course we're craving it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's wild. It is wild. And it hits the same dopamine receptors in our brain as cocaine does, right? So feel good chemical. Sugar is a feel good chemical. So, like we were talking about at the beginning, having an emotional or psychological connection to food, and especially sugar and sweets. There it is. That's the physiological aspect of it, right?
Wow. So I do have a quick question. As
Yes, definitely.
somebody who admittedly has had sugar cravings for the majority of my life, now that I've been able to control that sugar intake, what can I do to heal my gut? Would solutions like kombucha and kimchi and those types of probiotic fermented things actually help rebuild that lining?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, number one is having a balanced diet that is, as I've mentioned before, primarily uh, high fiber, because the high fiber actually feeds the healthy, beneficial gut bacteria,
Okay.
right? And especially um, vegetables that are high in inulin, right, which is a prebiotic, right? So, garlic, onions, apples, pears,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ginger. So many of these, so many foods, natural, high fiber foods are high in inulin, which is a prebiotic. So it actually helps to feed the beneficial gut bacteria and increase their numbers,
I
which
see.
is what we want
Right.
to heal. And of course, even on a regular basis, eating probiotic foods, right? Like fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkraut, kombucha, like you mentioned, kefir,
Mm-hmm.
right? All good things. And I've actually read recently that 1 teaspoon of sauerkraut has like 10 times more probiotics than a probiotic supplement.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? So
Interesting.
just eating a little bit of sauerkraut at like once a day or even at a couple of meals per day, you're increasing that beneficial gut bacteria. So that's really amazing. Yeah. So, and again, as I've mentioned before, eating a healthy protein and a healthy fat at every meal, always having a balanced diet will help tremendously, right? Now, of course, cravings come regardless, right? We always want to have our treats. Uh, there, We are surrounded by wonderful treats all over the place, passing by a bakery, or in the grocery store. So let's talk about some strategies for dealing with cravings, right? If you have a craving and you feel like you're reaching for those cookies or pastries, I would recommend that the first thing you do is have a glass of water, uh, maybe even with a splash of lemon juice, or like I said, some, alkaline water, coconut water, some electrolytes, right? Um, if that doesn't work, you can think about ways of avoiding, right, the craving, right? Keep your mind on something else for a little while, right? Go for a walk, listen to some music, dance,
Hmm.
exercise, meditation, yoga,
Yeah, of
right? Distract yourself, right? That's always an option, right? Very good for our health, anyways.
course.
And let's see, if afterwards you're still having that craving, right? Maybe eat a piece of fruit, right? If you're craving sugar, fruits are high in natural fructose, which is a sugar that our body processes and uses naturally,
Right.
right? And of course, it's okay to treat ourselves once in a while, right? Don't be afraid to incorporate the foods you love into a healthy eating plan, right? And we can always find or make our own healthy alternatives to the treats that we love,
Yeah.
right? So we can bake, right? Take a Sunday afternoon and bake some goodies. There are so many recipes all over the internet, on Pinterest, on Instagram, Facebook. They're everywhere.
Including
Oh,
your
and of
group.
yes, including our group. Please join our Facebook group, and we share lots of, great strategies and tips as well as recipes for healthy options. Yeah, absolutely. Um, or you can, if you don't like to bake or you don't have the time, you can always look around at the grocery store or at a health food store. And health food store these days are not just supplements. They are like mini supermarkets full of like amazing alternatives to, they have gluten-free breads, they have sprouted breads, um, amazing. Just lots of stuff and lots of goodies, you know, amazing, treats of all kinds. Yeah, really great healthy ingredients.
Awesome. And if a person is in the middle of a craving, can they use the group as a place for support? Go online and say,
Absolutely.
what do I do?
Abs Absolutely. Please join us. Yes, absolutely. Come to us with any health-related questions. We'd love to support you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time, Gori, and thank you to our audience.
Thank
We look
you.
forward to seeing you next time for our episode number 4, and we look forward to finding out what our lovely Facebook friends have chosen as our topic for our next video. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good morning, afternoon, I guess, for you.
Yes, it is. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to our Question of the Week series. This is episode number 3, and we're going to talk about cravings. Yes, this is my good friend Gori Harrison, who's helping me out, and we're going to have a conversation about cravings. I'm Andrea Modrea of Our Healthy Path. Thanks for joining. All right, let's get going. So, cravings. Why do we have cravings?
Million different reasons, I guess.
There's a number of reasons. I'm going to just break it down into 2. Number 1, we have an emotional connection to food, as we've discussed before. So when we're having cravings, it could be because we're stressed or overwhelmed, anxious about something. So we reach for food for comfort or self-soothing. And if we're doing this once in a while, no problem. But if we're doing this on a regular basis, we have to think about what is the trigger? What is triggering us to reach for food instead of some other more healthy way of dealing with whatever the trigger is?